5:07, it's the KRMG Evening News. I'm Skyler Cooper. After 2 weeks away from the evening show, I've been missing my weekly chats with Michael Spurgeon, the city manager in Broken Arrow, so happy to get back to it today. Michael joins us live. How are you?
Skyler, I'm doing great, my friend. How was your time off?
It was good. As I explained to this audience yesterday, I did way too much. I have a hard time just relaxing, so I did a lot of work around the house, but I'm happy to be here and be chatting with you again.
I'm glad to be visiting with you too, my friend. Glad that you're back and look forward to answering your questions you have about all the exciting things that are happening in our city.
Well, one of the things I did, finally got around to sitting down at the computer and registering my new account, I guess you will, with the payment system for my utility bills. I do live in Broken Arrow, so this affected me. You have a new website out there for folks to pay their bills online. This is the utility bill. And there are also some other factors about that, like you can pay it elsewhere. Let's start with the website and just the need, why people need to make a new account to pay their bills online.
Well, we actually are always looking for ways to improve the services that we provide our citizens, in this case, our utility customers. And so we did quite a bit of analysis over the last few years and determined that it was time to launch a new billing system in order to give those folks the convenience to be able to pay their bills online through our website. You know, right now folks could pay their bills through online through their bank, or they can pay by check, or they could come in. But we get a lot of requests for people to be able to pay through the website. And so the city's transitioning last month to a more secure, convenient, user-friendly utility billing and online payment system for the customers. And we started just a couple of weeks ago, and just like any new system, you know, we're trying to make sure we work out the glitches, and anybody has a question, try to get those questions answered. You know, but the benefits and features of the system are exactly what the people have asked for. Folks want to be able to see their statements online. They want to get their payment history, their monthly usage, and also want to make sure that whenever they do submit their payment, that their payment's secure and that their information is not going to be going to get out there on the dark web, so to speak, for anyone to use. And we're pretty happy with the security of our system.
Having done it myself, I will say it was relatively simple. The one thing, my one warning is it asks you for your account number, which I did not know, but I was able to find it in my email. So be armed with your account number when you go to sign up.
Yes, I would strongly suggest that. And obviously, we try to monitor social media a little bit to get some feedback from some residents that have used the system, and then we're trying to make adjustments. Kurt Poole is our utility building supervisor, and Cindy Arnold is the finance director, and they worked really hard along with Tom Cook. And so I'm pretty happy with how we started off, but obviously we're going to be promoting it through Aaron McCulloch and his team of communications, because I think it's going to be a great tool for folks to use.
All right, let's move on to trash. Today was my trash day on my street in Broken Arrow, and I put my cart in a different place because apparently I'd been doing it wrong. I saw a video on your Broken Arrow, the city Facebook page. The guys, the team there at the refuse team, they were explaining where exactly to put the cart, where the wheels should face, how far apart the recycling and the refuse cart should be, all the things I was doing wrong, honestly, because I live on a narrow street, so I thought it's probably better if I just pop it up on top of the curb. As it turns out, it needs to be in the street. And I'll just have you explain why it's important that these things are spelled out for residents.
Well, if you recall, it's just been a couple of years ago that the city actually implemented the cart system for both trash and recycling. And I think we're still in the adjustment phase for a lot of our residents and knowing exactly where they need to place those carts. And so I've asked Aaron to work with Jerry Schuber, our director of solid waste and recycling, to do periodic educational updates on exactly where those carts need to go. Jerry's team goes out. He has some customer service folks that go and look at where folks are placing those carts, and then we try to put out videos that address that. They do need to be in the street. You know, the carts do have wheels on them. They do need to be 3 feet apart because we have two different vehicles that are coming by and picking up the materials. So we want to make sure that to maintain a very high operational efficiency is that if they're spread apart by at least 3 feet, then the drivers don't have to get out of the truck to actually dump the materials for recycling specifically, and they make it a lot easier for those when they pick up the trash. And so this is just our ongoing effort to make sure that folks understand where they need to place the cart. And I would just encourage anyone that has a question to go to recyclingba.com. That's, once again, recyclingba.com, and they can find out a lot of great information about there. And we're going to be doing more videos because obviously this is an educational process and there's a lot of transparency. We want to talk about green waste Pretty soon, we're going to start talking about the cleaning of carts. We want to talk more about how we can increase the amount of recycling that we collect, and there's just so much more. And I'll tell you, Jerry Schuber, I called him the mad scientist when it comes to recycling because the guy loves it, and he's just looking at everything we do to try to make sure that we collect our recyclables and that we're extremely efficient with the way we collect trash.
You said you look at Facebook for feedback. I'll offer you a little bit in real time here, if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, so a couple of weeks ago, I got home and my trash cart was gone. I thought, okay, have I done something wrong? And they took it from me. What is going on? It turned out it was several houses down the street. I have no idea how that happened. I was able to call the city and get my serial number so I could take the correct one back to my house. But and sometimes the cans are just strewn about. It's hard to get in my driveway some days. So I know the reason I bring this up, it's not just because it's me, but I actually have had calls in the newsroom. It's not just Broken Arrow either, but other places where people are frustrated that the street is littered with carts after the guys have come through. Is there anything that can be done about that?
Actually, we are evaluating in our ongoing efforts for great customer service to look at where folks are leaving their carts out. And obviously, I'm not interested in trying to be heavy-handed when it comes to enforcement. We're trying to do it through education. And so a part of our updates are always trying to remind folks if they do leave their carts out to actually need to bring them in by a certain time because that is actually what the ordinance says. And so every now and then we'll leave a note, as I understand it, on the cart to say, hey, you need to pull your cart in, because we don't want our streets to look unsightly, because Broken Arrow is an amazingly beautiful community, and the carts are necessary for operational efficiency. And so this is just going to be an ongoing process of educating our citizens on the importance of pulling them back in when they come home and making sure they keep them up close to their garage or in their garage, because we want to keep Broken Arrow beautiful like it is. And we'll continue to work with folks because we just hope they'll work on compliance, because we just don't want to issue anybody a notice if they just simply can't follow what the ordinance says.
Let me clarify just a little bit. I mean, where the crews leave them after they've collected the trash, they're kind of everywhere.
All right, well, then I'll talk to my director, Jerry Schuber, about that, because they've got specific protocols they're supposed to follow when it comes to placing them. And so if we're not placing them correctly, then I'll take responsibility for that, and I'll let Jerry know, and then we'll work with the crews to make sure they get put to where they need to go.
Making things happen on the BA Breakdown here, the KRMG Evening News. We talk with Michael Spurgeon every Tuesday evening right here at this time. If you have questions, you can always submit those on the open mic, and we'll do that again next week. Michael, thank you.
Thank you, Skyler. Have a great week.